I think surrender means that I think what it is really is that when we talk like this, somewhere down in our heart we know it's true. So there's that in me that knows it, but there's that in me that doesn't know it yet. And over again, I'm giving opportunities to know that the universe is infinitely trustworthy, which is surrender. In other words, if ultimately speaking, infinity is already infinitely surrendered itself to me, and the reciprocity is for me to surrender myself. So I come up against boundaries inside where there's constantly renewed opportunities to surrender myself over to the trustworthy nature of what's happening to me. Whether you're in a hospice, or hanging on a cross, we're sitting out on a bench, cold. So there's always just one thing going on.
You have to go through pain for rebirth?
Yes, well, we do go through pain, and through that pain, deeply surrendered to, we are reborn. And that's why I think too, not to mystify this, as in other words, it doesn't make us exempt from the human situation, but it delivers us into the incomprehensible stature of the human situation. But I went in once to see Thomas Merton for direction, and I was 18 years old, and I was complaining about something. I forget what it was. And he said to me, we didn't come here to find a rarefied space free from the suffering of the world. We came here to carry the suffering of the whole world in our heart. I was really struck by that my suffering doesn't belong to me. And so in my suffering, it unites me. Compassion is the body of emptiness, as the Buddhists say. So this Christ nature is that the infinite presence of God in the most intimate interior places that hurt are one. Here's how I put it. Let's say we draw like a trajectory like this. And on the trajectory, we're doing our sincere best to free ourselves and others from suffering, which is the moral imperative. But the extent to which I'm not able to free myself from suffering, the God is the intersection of that inability. See? So that the cutting edge of my inability to free myself from suffering, God is the infinity of that inability. And I think really, the stages of dying, Elizabeth Kubler-Ross and so on. So when people come to acceptance, she says they're not happy. They don't say this dying is, I don't know when I've had more fun, really. She says they're beyond the dualism of happiness and sadness. And how I see it is, although they're still here, they've already crossed over. So this is freedom from the tyranny of death in the midst of death. See, freedom from the tyranny of suffering in the midst of suffering. So why wait to the hospice to find it out? See, what if we could find it out today? See, and
freedom now.
That's right, and I think that's the mystical teachings. See.
Looks like you said crucified love. What does that mean to you?
It is that. See, when we're looking at it in Jesus and all of this way, then is that Jesus loved, and then he loved some more, and he died loving. He died loving as executioners. And how I put it, to me it seems, and then when he died, like the kenosis of God, the emptying of God, they pierced his heart, and blood and water flowed out, like at the birth of a child. And so then there was no more Jesus left in Jesus. And when there was no more Jesus left in Jesus, the only Jesus that was ever really there was manifested perfectly in the world. And then Jesus says, "Come follow me." Sounds like a good idea to you see where he's leading you. And whoa, that's right.
That's not sustainable.
That's not sustainable. And so, but really, if we let ourselves be unraveled in a compassionate, paced way, so we don't get re-traumatized. We're just a human being. But if we just follow this, we start unexplainably discovering these things that are so impossible to put into words. You have to speak poetically or paradoxically. But how I put it too sometimes with people helps me to say that When we don't know someone very well, it's easy to say a lot about them. Like, let me tell you about so-and-so. If you love someone very deeply for a long, long time, you don't know what to say. And you know anything you would say wouldn't be what you know because you can't say it and your heart breaks when you try. Now what if that is a faint echo of God being hopelessly in love with us? So Michelda Magberg, she says that God revealed to her that he freely chose to be so hopelessly in love with her. He doesn't really know if he could handle being God without her. And she said, I told God, she said, take me home with you and I'll be your physician forever. See, and I think that's the mystic way. There's something unbearably beautiful unfolding everywhere. And that the root source of our sorrow is where we've lost experiential access to that one thing that sets us free. And those are the mystical teachings of all the world religions, really, I think.
What's the one thing?
Is this. No, no hindrance, nothing missing anywhere. Nothing missing anywhere. There's an infinite wholeness that utterly permeates the fragmentation of our lives. And go ahead, yeah, nothing's missing. Yeah, nothing. Nothing's missing. Nothing's missing. Nothing's missing anywhere. That's liberation, I think.